The weather pattern of the winter was controlled by an unusually warm ocean. Oceans cover 70% of the surface of the Earth, so no wonder it influences our weather. A very warm ocean resulted in a very warm winter for not only the United States, but the 8th warmest winter on record for here in Nebraska. We also had a very wet winter. It was the 10th wettest winter on record for Nebraska. We've noticed as climatologists that the weather systems in the U.S. and especially in the Great Plains have become more variable over the last few years, resulting in extreme weather conditions from last May's wettest month on record to some very dry conditions in the state, very warm temperatures this past winter, temperatures that reached the 80s in parts of Nebraska, but still plunged below zero with some snowstorms. This trend has been in existence now for well over a couple years, and we see no change in this. We expect another variable weather pattern continuing through spring and on into summer. We expect a trend to continue of warmer than normal temperatures, but in the background we've got a more extreme system. So we could still have, and we have a risk of below freezing temperatures in all of Nebraska well through the end of April into early May. So although we may come into summer with a statement that it was a warmer than normal spring, expect the risk of still some unseasonable cold spells because our system has become more extreme. We're drying out to our south and southwest, but at the same time, we're coming out of a drought period, so we have two factors going on. We're coming out of a drought period, which should result in wetter than normal conditions, but at the same time, we see an unusual drying already beginning to take place to our south and southwest. So the verdict at this point is unsure what the moisture conditions are going to be. We're comfortable with a warmer than normal summer ahead, but with more variable conditions, we still have a risk of freezes, very untimely freezes, as we go in through the rest of the month of April. There are always a series of major factors going on. One of them is climate change. So climate change is resulting in a warmer trend in our climate for Nebraska. There is also patterns where there's normal cycles of drought and wet, and we're coming out of a drought cycle into a wet cycle. There's also an observed increase in extremes in our climate system that we've noticed over the last few years, especially in our area, and actually in climate data over the last decade. All of these factors play independent of each other, which makes it difficult then, more difficult than it has been in the past, to anticipate what is the trend going to be going into spring and summer.